Hello there, Internet Hiboson here. This is part B of my Sunhokey Prusa i3 build video. If this is the first video that you're watching of mine or seeing of mine, this is part B. Part A was last week. Pop back and see that. I've also got some unboxing videos and some other videos to do with this leading up to the build. Also, if you're just coming back to this and you do need to jump directly to a part, if you have a little look at the side here, we have some time indexes. You can jump straight to them if you need to go there. Also, keep an eye out for possible annotations. If there's any kind of little updates or anything I feel that I need to clarify or anything as time goes by with questions and things that come in from people, I will pop an annotation on the screen. Also, you might occasionally notice I mix up a couple of my words, like saying bolt instead of nut, nut instead of bolt. But the on-screen graphic should make sure you're clear of which is which. I will call these observational tests, because that's what they were meant to be. Honest. Yeah, okay, before I make any more mistakes, we might as well just get into the build video. And so let's start this with part 4. I'll see you at the end. Okay, now on to part 4. What we should be needing for part 4 is 5 plastic pieces, 1 box slider long, 1 T8 copper nut, 1 pulley, 1 stepper motor, 4 M3 by 10mm bolts, 4 M3 by 12mm bolts, 4 M3 by 16 bolts, 8 M3 nuts, and 4 M4 by 12mm bolts. Okay, now this step should be very similar to the last. It's kind of pretty much a similar piece, but it's a bit longer because rather than having the unilateral pulleys, we're going to be putting a stepper motor in there. So let's get started. First, we need the piece that has, like last time, the small hole with the 4 little holes there, and the T8 copper nut, and 4 of the M3 by 12mm bolts, which are 4. Need to peel the plastic off. My apologies for all the traffic noise, and if you're hearing anybody walking by nattering away on their phone, I apologise for that. Where I'm situated, I'm right next to a road and a public footpath. And to be honest, it's only a little wooden hut I'm in, so not very sound insulated. I might have to deal with that later. Okay, so like the last one, that bit at the bottom again, this bit down on here, get these 4 in here. Then holding this piece here with that away from you and to your right, popping that in, flip it over and get 4 of your bolts, nuts, sorry. Change that back to the 7/32. Somebody probably tell me I'm pronouncing that wrong. I drop that because I'm trying to hold this so lightly that I can't over tighten it, because I do not want to break this acrylic. Now we need this larger piece and the 2 M pieces. Let's have a little look. We've got the hole at one end. I know that the wider piece should be at that end, thinner piece should be at that end. Okay, that piece will be going in there. That piece will be going there. Then take this other piece, plastic piece. So the way this will be going here is we've got the two, see in there, two oblong oval holes, be at the opposite end to the big round hole on my crosshair there. And that will come over onto here. And this one will come up onto the top with that there. And then again, it's lining up the copper nut with the oblong hole there, and that oblong hole with that oblong hole there. You can see that's better. Then the fun bit of doing need the 4 M3x16 nuts and bolts. Grab that, drop that in there. I am trying my best to keep this in camera shot and what have you while I'm doing it, but I'm also trying to do it. So please forgive me for any time I do wander a little bit out of frame or whatever. Got them on there now, so these ends are on nice and tight. Now, box slider again. And the 4 M12 by M4 bolts. Again, I'm going to put that on here this time. I'm going to put the screw apart, pointing towards the stepper motor. Now we need the stepper motor and the 4 M3 by 10mm bolts here. Right, come here, come here, come here, come here. Ooh, nearly. So with the copper piece pointing towards you and the slider at the bottom of the piece, have this with the cable coming out what will be the bottom of the piece. Line that up over there. This has got a raised section on it here which should slot nicely in on there, and then these just drop in. Let's get one at the other end so it stops it pivoting. And you just get those 4 into these here, just basically screwing the stepper motor down. That is the stepper motor attached. Now the pulley, so I'm going to put that through there like we did last time. Actually using that one because I need the small one for doing these again. So yeah, we're going to be doing these very small grub screws there. So there we have it. That is the part 4 item. Stepper motor, slider, etc. Time to move on to the next step. Okay, now part 5. What we'll need for this are 2 plastic parts, 4 box type sliders of the small variety, 16 M4 by 12mm bolts, 1 M3 by 16 bolt, and 1 M3 nut. As you can see, this piece here is already over onto my area here. This is the base part of the bed, what the bed's going to go onto. But let's start by the plastic in it. Easier said than done. Best as I can tell, this has no specific way up. Should be identical either way around. So what I'll do is, you now need the 4 box sliders. And then what we'll be doing with that is these will all be going under here and making sure that the rods can go that away. Now, to help matters out, I'm going to take the rods. These are not a part required for this exact step, but I'm using them in this step just to pop them on, just to help try and make sure they stay parallel to each other. Whether or not they are parallel to each other that way, we'll come to see later when we put the final bits together there. And now it's just basically the whole pile of the M4 by 12mm bolts. Okay, so they appear to be on. They're all tight now. So now I know that they're running smoothly. Let's take the rods out for now. Now flip this over for a minute, and we need this other plastic part. This would be what grabs the belt for. Just trying to make sure I get my carriages the right way around. X carriage, I think. Back and forward. This item then goes on the bottom here, the same side as the sliders. In there, then you need your M3 bolt and nut. Just do that, make life simpler. Okay, so that is part 5 done and finished. We've got this piece here, a big piece there, the bed holder with 4 sliders on, and the belt holder, the bit that grabs the belt. You see there, it's very hard to see, but if you're building one, you'll be able to see clearly. That's the bit there where you push in the pulley belt. Anyway, that's that part done. Moving on to the next bit. Okay, now we're going to be moving on to part 6, which is actually the hot end. This is the bit that will be actually extruding the plastic filament out onto the hotbed. So here we go. What we need for this is the E3D full metal hot end, one of them, the aluminium spool holder part, 2 small box type sliders, 3 plastic parts, 1 printed piece for the fan ducting, 1 normal fan, 1 squirrel cage fan, 2 M3 by 16 bolts, 4 M3 by 18 bolts, 2 M3 by 30 bolts, 8 M3 nuts, and 8 M4 bolts. The first parts we'll need are these plastic parts I've already got here, and so let's start off by de-plasticking them. Right, that's those 3 things covered. First take this, and okay, that has one side looks higher than the other. One side is the slots here and nearer to those holes than those ones. So I'm going to keep my eye on that, but from best I can tell at the moment, I'll just do that all the way into there. So I now need the M3 by 16 bolt and the M3 nut. Make sure you get the right size one, because if you don't, if you get too big a one, it's not going to hit at the end there. How do I know that? This is take 2. Okay, that's on there. Now onto here. Turn these up that way. There, and now we'll need the 8 M4 nuts. These are bigger, these are easier to pick up by hand. Okay, next bits we're going to need are 2 M3 by 18s, 2 nuts, the metal hot end, and the spool holder. Okay, just going through this now, and just making sure I get the hot end on the right part. Don't want to get it the wrong way round. So if you're looking at this piece here, there is one set of sliders that have got a gap between the plastic and there, and one which the slider's right up against. The side which is right up against is the side that we're going to be putting the hot end on. Let's just unravel these wires and bring them around. So here we have the hot end, which is where the plastic goes in, gets heated up at this bit here, and then extrudes out here. So we take the alu piece here, that goes on this groove you see here. Then the feeder in there will go through the hole we have on there. Then the next piece you do is be a bit more fun and dandy, which is one of them M3 by 18s through there, and then do the bolt up on this side. Oh, or drop it and drop it again. Now that one's on that side, let's get the other one in. Luckily I've got this to hand still. Okay, that's solid. That is not going anywhere. So next we have this plastic part here. It has 2 holes. Let's put it back down there. You can see here 2 holes here. These holes are going to go in line with the slots we have here and here. And then what we want to do is, if you're holding the end here, this slope will be going down to that side. I know it's a bit hard to figure out exactly which way is which on film and bits and bobs, but if you were standing holding the hot end looking at it, the longest piece is on your right, the lower piece is on your left. What we need now is 1 M3 by 16 and 1 nut. Now we're only using one this here. It'll come apparent in a minute. What I'm doing here is I'm putting that through on that second hole nearest the longer part, just to make life a little easier for doing this bit here. Because unlike previous times where this has always been latched into a very specific point, now you kind of got to eyeball that center. Now what we need is the squirrel cage fan. That one there. They can tell the squirrel cage fan, or as it calls it, the turbo fan, because it's the one where the hole comes out one side rather, and it brings it in on one place and out in one little small square, whereas the other fan is a pass-through kind of affair. And we also want the printed part we have here. So take the squirrel cage fan. The squirrel cage fan opening there goes into there, and then these holes should line up. Well, then we'll go onto that point there. Now we need the two M3x30s and two M3 nuts. The two really long ones and two nuts. So if I start with this side over here, going through there, through the red printed part, and then through, there's a hole just right next to the slot there, which we can get that through. Then the other one goes through the other side. Pull that out for a bit. So that one's coming through and clicking onto that one. Okay, so that little bit there done. Then we need the two M3x18s. And the two nuts. And the standard fan. Having a little look here, you've got this side here, which is the open side. This side here where you can see the wire going across and the label. So what we want to do is turn it over away from the label side. If you're holding it with the cable furthest away on this corner, on this edge here, on your right hand edge, but furthest away from you, we then want to pop these two into the two top ones for you. Be bottom on the screen, but there we go, they pop in there, and then they are going to, where you have the kind of slots you normally used to there, that's where these are going to go into. So let's just make life easier. And then where you see them, these are going to go into there. And there we go. We have the fan on there. You can see just in there, if I have a little look in there, how it's attached the same way as the plastic piece attached together. It's just pulling that to it. So there we have the print head, sliders, fan, squirrel cage fan, hot end, all together, all nice and tight. So that's the end of part 6. Now to move on to part 7. I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any more comments or questions, please feel free to hit me up in the comments below. Also, if you want to try and get hold of me other ways, there is Twitter. You can get me at there. I'm at Hiboson. If you like this video, please thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. But like I said, throw comments at the bottom. Just let me know what you thought. If you've got one, let me know. You know, I'd like to have a chat with all you people out there. Anyway, that is me for this week. Next week, there should be, hopefully, if all goes well, part C, which should be then, in theory, he says, part 7, 8 and 9. I still have to finish building this before I get to part 10, because I'm on part 10 here, so I better get on with this, hadn't I? Anyway, there's enough chatting on here. I suppose I've got things to be doing, really. Anyway, I'll catch you next week. Bye!